Joburg, this is Steve. I'm here with another quick shot review. This time it's Toxo-Zombie from 1992's Eco Warriors subset. The only baddie released in the series that year, and he is a doozy. GI Joe was finally flirting with the idea of zombies, and not a moment too soon. I guess they were following trends like Toxic Avenger. But they did it with an interesting twist. They already had this ecological subset, but no one really nasty other than the leader of the baddies, Cesspool. He had a grisly looking scar. In this instance, they took their bog standard Toxo Viper and hideously mutilated him. On the surface, you're going to see a lot of similarities to the Toxo Viper. They decided to change the color palette quite drastically. Where the Toxo Viper was once purple, this guy's a kind of deep pink, and where he was a dark green, he's now a lime or neon green, which I quite like. If you're exposed to some serious corrosive or caustic substances, it's going to take a toll on the colors of your uniform. So I kind of buy that, even though it is crazy out there, 90s lurid. But what they've done additionally to the sculpt is where things really get interesting. They could have just easily replaced the arm and the leg and called it a day, maybe the head as well. But instead, they subtly added to every part of that mold, making this an entirely unique figure. The back has these cracks in the armor, and even when it isn't cracked, it's pitted. And that pitting happens all over. See in this sort of arm tubing, there's a hole there. These things could be brought out if you were to take the time with additional paint apps, but as I say, the bog standard release is already showing off. He's missing a digit on this hand, and there's battle damage everywhere, even down to these cool boot cuffs. Dings and scratches and nicks, chunks taken out. The gore on the leg is alright. I mean, what are these red scars? The boils look cool, but they're all just one color, which, if you wanted to get in there and bring out some additional details, well, power to you, that would make this look incredible. But they individuated his toes, and yes, there are 5. I'd say he's one of the only 2 figures, him and Quick Kick, who have exposed feet. At least in this instance, it kind of makes more sense. I mean, literally, his boot has been stripped away, or torn off, or melted. Ditto with the hand. Not missing any digits, fortunately, but once again, that scarring, and boils, and nasty stuff, sort of red pitting to him. Everything has chunks missing and pieces taken out. It's a fantastic, fantastic addition to your forces, and very unique as well. And then we get to the main event, the coup de grace, the head sculpt. Look at that. Look at that. No paint apps, and yet plenty of detail. If you're seeing a slight almost wash to it, well, that comes from his included feature, the color change battle damage. He would, in a few places, go very bright pink. If exposed to ice-cold water. In this climate, he's not showing much battle damage. And I did test him out. You get a little pink splotch on that ding, or dent, or divot. The face also gets a pink splotch, and various other portions of the armor. It doesn't work terribly well anymore. I think the years have always been unkind to these figures. Hell, they were looking terrible straight out of the package anyways. Anyone who knows a thing or two about Eco Warriors knows that the battle damage kind of doesn't really function as it should. It's certainly not prominent when it's on, and it never really disappears. Unless you've got a specimen like this guy, in which case he doesn't look terribly present at all. And I'm okay with that, really, it's fine. He has the included patch. Very nice, done up in that neon green. And altogether, I mean, if you look past the lurid colors, this is a freaky and very unique, as I say, figure. And in so being, kind of makes you wonder what his place is in the G.I. Joe lore. I mean, typically zombies are used as a horde. They're en masse. They, you know, these cannon fodder that G.I. Joe need to mow down and fight their way through. Otherwise, they're goners. This guy doesn't scream that to me, and I'll tell you why. It's because if you were to army build Toxo-Zombies, you'd always have the same damage in the same places. And he's so unique. So unique, in fact, that I'm going to make this guy an individual. Imagine the scene, if you will. A group of Toxo Vipers are sent on a perilous mission, as is their job description, their MO. All of them get wiped out in some apocalyptic kind of event. Some really nasty stuff goes down. This guy, by rights, should be dead, but somehow he reanimates and is now some kind of undead creature. Patient zero, if you will, for whatever he's carrying. This kind of blessing and curse of immortality. And he's something that Cobra scientists need to study. He'd be the perfect denizen to populate your Toxo lab playset, if you happen to have that playset from 1992. I think I'm going to track one down, in fact. He'd look really good going into that tank for study. Also of note is the fact that his helmet is so nicely starred. Sort of almost works better when I have it shadowed. Yeah, look at that. Such a great sculpt. There's a lot going on for something that is often derided or maligned as being sort of the tail end of the year and with these lurid colors, but as I've said before, the colors really work, and I am a huge fan of this figure. Look at that face. Look at that face. Look at me. Look at me. Alright guys, time to turn off the lights and get spooky. Yo Joburg, everybody.